Hey everyone, this is a little video about a glitch in Rabi-Ribi called ribbon zip. I'm making a video about this because it turns out that even though this glitch is used in pretty much like all the main categories except 0% in this game, turns out that there's not a lot of info about it, it just kind of exists. So I decided to make a video because it's actually like a pretty complicated glitch, even though it barely saves any time. It saves like, what, 4 seconds about? So we're going to demonstrate everything. So first off, we're going to demonstrate how the ribbon fight works normally and what happens afterwards. So Arena walks up to Ribbon. Cutscene, cutscene, cutscene. And this CG pops up. This is actually a pretty important thing. We can just skip ahead now. Then after this CG, you come back to this. And you end up in this room. So this is how the ribbon fight normally works. So now let's show exactly what happens with ribbon zip. Right, I need to load my save. So with ribbon zip, if I do the fight properly, this is how you do it. So Arena walks up to Ribbon and notice the spot she's standing in. It's actually pretty important later on. But we're just going to show exactly what happens now. So blah blah blah, talking, the CG pops up. Eventually, we can just skip the CG. And now we're in this room. So this is what ribbon zip does. So instead of ending the fight here in this room where you fight Ribbon, you actually end up over here. So why exactly this happens? There's two reasons. It's a combination of two reasons. So let's reload again. Gotta let them save manually. So if we boot up the fight, so if you notice here, during the fight, this is actually locked up. There's what we call a boss gate right here. And this boss gate prevents you from exiting the arena. And well, what I'm about to say here is speculation, first of all. Like, there's no actual way to confirm what I'm about to say. But what I think is that what I think is the only reasonable explanation for this is that when you come back from the little CG moment in the cutscene, for like maybe a couple of frames, maybe 1 frame, like a very small amount of time, even though you're no longer in the fight and the boss gate disappears, the boss gate is loaded for some reason. And you notice that spot I was standing in at the end of the fight. If I just play it again. So if you notice, I'm standing right where the boss gate would normally be at the very end of the fight. So when the boss gate loads up, I'm still standing right there for a brief amount of time, but enough for that the game to recognize that, hold on, I'm inside a wall right now. That's not okay. And so the game, as it does with every other wall in the game, it zips you to the right. It moves you to the right until you're no longer inside a wall. So what happens is that you land in the room after. I'm going to skip ahead, because to the right of the boss gate is this room. But that doesn't explain why we end up all the way over here, like pretty much like really far away from any sort of wall. Well, that would be the second part of the trick. So after you come out from the CG, you saw in the normal way of fighting Ribbon, which I guess I'll show again. Load. Wait, right. When you fight Ribbon normally, and you come back from the CG, you saw that no matter where you're standing in Arena, it turns out that you're gonna come back at a very specific location in the arena after the cutscene, no matter where you're standing at the end of it. So you're always going to spawn right here at this very specific, these very specific coordinates. So I actually forgot to turn on my cheat engine display. Give me a second. Let's just crop this real quick, my bad. Does that say 1? Okay. Perfect. So the top value here is my x coordinate, while the bottom value is my y coordinate. So you will always spawn with these very precise coordinates, no matter where you end the fight with. But what happens here is that the game doesn't spawn you as those exact coordinates. Those values aren't hard-coded. What happens is that the game checks to see which room you're currently in, and it tries to place you at a specific location in that room. So it places you like at a specific coordinate relative to which room arena is currently in. As it turns out, when it does that placement thing, I guess you could call it, we're actually in this room now. So instead of keeping us over here, it places us all the way over here past this cutscene that we need to pass. So to demonstrate this, and I hope I don't end up screwing myself over here, let's just load this back up. I actually have prepared some coordinates beforehand. Right, of course I would do this. Hold on. Come back here. Okay, so I took some coordinates beforehand. Let me just pause the game for a second here, if it lets me do that. Thank you. Cheat engine is a pretty nice thing. So let's copy this, change my y and x coordinate to this. Let's unpause the game real quick. So this is about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the ribbon zip, and I'm going to put myself in these specific coordinates so you guys know that I would be, well, right here. And we're going to see what happens. I'm going to put myself to these coordinates in the CG, and we're going to come back, and, well, if the hypothesis that I just put is right, and I know it's right, but I got to show it to you guys, I'm going to end up in the middle of the room, slightly right of the teleporter probably. Or I might zip to the right. I don't know if it's going to like put me like in the floor or something. It totally might. So let's do this. So now we're going to let the cutscene play out a little bit, wait till the CG's up. And now we're going to take this, paste it over here, paste this over here, so you know where I should be right now. And now if we zoom ahead, I am now in the middle of this room. I'm surprised I didn't actually like get put in the floor and zip out. Instead, and you know where I put the coordinates, I put them all the way over here. So that goes to show the second part of this, is that it puts you in a position relative to the room that you're currently in. So that's the two reasons that ribbon zip actually works. And well, for all of that, you save about 4 seconds in a speedrun. It saves having to walk through the room. Saves walking one room. But hey, you know, great 4 seconds. So I think that covers everything about ribbon zip. There is, of course, the setup that you saw me do multiple times in this video. This is the setup that we use in speedruns. You have to end the fight with a reverse hit of the third hit of your combo being a reverse hit, which is when you turn around in the middle of a combo. So if it's that, then and you have to end the fight all the way to the right. So if you do that, then Ribbon should get enough knockback so that when Arena walks over to her, you will actually be standing inside the boss gate. If you don't end the fight with a move that does enough knockback, then Arena won't walk far enough to the right. She won't be inside the boss gate, and you're not gonna get zipped to the right and then placed properly in the next room. Yeah, I think that about covers it all. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to leave a comment. And if you'd like me to do, well, perhaps another video on another glitch in this game that you think probably deserves a video or isn't explained enough anywhere, feel free to also let me know. And I think that about covers it. Thank you for watching.